Good evening, everyone. Today, June 6, 2023, at 6 p.m., a call for order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Supervisor Aliaga.
Here.
Clerk Newbeck here. Treasurer Brown.
Here.
Trustee Morocco.
Here.
Trustee Nalamothu. Here. Trustee Ritchie.
Here.
And Trustee Stolian.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Any motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the late addition as presented.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Board and public announcement. Board members and individuals on the audience may make a statement containing information about a recent of or coming event. I have few. Due to the recent resignation of our Parks and Rec Director Derek Smith, Lisa Christensen has taken over the role of Parks and Rec Intro Director. Thank you, Lisa, for taking this extra duties. It's much appreciated. Thank you. Also, I want to communicate to the board that it's about Eugene Massa. Today, I received Eugene Massa resignation from the Planning Commission. Unfortunately for us, he have recently moved out of the Independence Township, out of our township. I want to thank Eugene for his dedication to our township. Finally, I want to say happy birthday to our clerk, Kerry Newick, because Kerry's going
Thank
to
you.
be just 20, 25, 24,
I'll be 27 this year.
27, okay.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Kerry.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Paul?
I just want to congratulate the Clarkston High School women's tennis team. They did very well at states. I think finished third, and we're excited for the future for that program. Maybe we'll get another state championship in the near future.
Okay, anyone else? We good? Okay. Moving on, public comments. Individuals in the audience may address to the township board for no more than 5 minutes. Okay, anyone online? Okay. No one appears is there, so we don't have a public hearing today, no presentations or report. Consent agenda. Request to approve we have request to approve the Board of Trustees regular meeting minutes of May 23, 2023. 2, request to approve the May 30, 2023 check run of $432,100.48 and ratify the May 26, 2023 payroll, $344,939.31. Request to approve the firework display permit for Independence Fest 2023.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Let's go to business agenda. We have, Carrie, you're actually first about the modification here.
This evening, we have Mr. Murphy back from Waterford Hill Road Racing, requesting to use the PA system now for 8 open track days that were presented in the May. And he's here to talk on that.
I apologize, I should have done a better job of elucidating what I wanted last time. There are 8 days where we have people pay to come and drive their streetcars on the track. Many times they haven't done that before, so there's some instruction involved. And since we get started on the track at 10 o'clock, up until now, the guy who's given the instruction has been screaming so that everybody can hear him. Brian was out, Brian Ottman was out last week or week and a half ago, and checked the sound levels that we'd like to use. We'd like to use just one channel of our public address system so that people right in our paddock area can hear us. I think he can attest to the fact that it's either undetectable or virtually undetectable at our property lines. So we'd like to have that exception so that he doesn't have to yell anymore.
Okay. Any questions from board members? No? Ron?
I said, one is this, if we okay this tonight, is this just for this year, or is this gonna be I think we approve it every year, the whole thing, but I mean, is this gonna be something you wanna include every year from now on, or?
Yes, but I could certainly ask for it again next year, because we have to come back next year anyway for the waiver for the vintage races, so I could just add that. However you guys
Okay.
know what you're doing, I don't know how this works.
All right, I just,
Okay.
Since we're already sort of into the season, how many days would you request if it were the full year? Do you know?
2 more, what did I say, 8?
Yes,
I
you
asked
said
for
8
8.
for tonight.
10 at the most.
Okay.
I think we've got 9 total, but it may be 10.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I guess
Sam?
I would ask Brian, if you could please, I know I think at the last meeting you mentioned that we've been down to maybe 1 or 2 complaints a year over there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the people that live there are becoming accustomed to it, as I am by Pine Knob, you know, and all that, so, it seems like a reasonable request to me for what we're doing, and that venue, I think, is real important to the township, to have it be being used and being available to people, you know? So I just, unless there was, we were, you know, combating it, and is it always the same one person, you know, usually? Because that sometimes is not a really accurate gauge, that, you know, the one loud voice.
Yeah, usually it used to be the same person that always complained. With COVID kind of interrupting things, we haven't heard any complaints since COVID. So I think it was 2019 was the last time we had a formal complaint. And that was during Vintage Weekend anyway.
Right.
So that's why it was important for us to go out and really understand what this PA system is. And, you know, we took a golf cart out. We basically hit the north and east property lines where there are residences. You couldn't hear it. So they obviously, you know, that was important for us to know if
Now,
they were
if-
going to do PA systems.
So I noticed in your response that, you know, depending on how this would react this year, and if we were to get, you know, all of a sudden some things, we had talked about this being an annual request for the vintage days, but if this ordinance change, though, would not need to be renewed every year if it was changed in the ordinance, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Kelly and I have talked about there's probably needs to be some updating of the ordinance, and you know, one of it might be decibel levels, one might be this PA system, being able to use it, especially when we know what the system is and how loud it is, which is indetectable by, I mean, the birds were louder than the sound. So, and an airplane went overhead and that picked up more sound than even this PA system. So I think there's some reasonable things that probably need to be updated in this ordinance.
So
But we could look at it, I would prefer to, let's get through the season. If we don't have any real complaints, then, you know, it's maybe appropriate to revisit the ordinance and
look at some permanent changes so they
Make some
don't have
tweaks,
to
yeah.
keep coming back for this.
exactly.
I'm in favor of that. All right, thank you.
Okay. Trustee Ritchie?
yeah, I think one other aspect that you said the last time you were here, there is a safety aspect to this too, because giving proper instruction to the drivers and everything before they go out on the track is, you know, I guess is another need to make sure we have proper communication with the drivers as well.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? We okay? Okay. Anyone would like to make a motion?
Thank you.
Make a motion.
Okay.
Move to approve the ordinance modification request received from Waterford Hills Road Racing, Inc. for the use of a public announcement system prior to the 10 a.m. starting time during 8 open track days as presented throughout the remainder of 2023 season pursuant pursuant to section 6-20A3D, duration of operation. I'd also like to add that it wouldn't start before 8 a.m. If that's, because there is no start date on the motion, so I'd like to implement, not before 8 a.m.
Yeah, it will not be used for
if that's, you know, works.
It does say in here 8:30.
Not in the motion.
Oh, sorry, okay.
I'll support.
Okay. All
Is
right.
the board comfortable with my motion at 8 a.m., or do you want to move it to 8:30?
Okay, it's already second. No?
Okay, very
Okay.
good.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Good luck.
Can we possibly look forward to looking in the future, maybe having a look at trying to clean up the ordinance though,
Sure,
for the future?
we can do, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, no
Thanks.
problem. You're welcome. All right, Rick?
Good evening, everyone. I've got a budget amendment here, just some, basically some budget cleanup here. There's some activity that's actually happened that was not budgeted, so this is basically going to establish the budget for those items that have come in. There's 5 of them here. The first one happens to be within our Human Resource Department. Obviously, we've had a little bit of a changeover there with the heads, and the previous director who was here when the budget was put together did not budget anything for phone charges. I guess they elected not to have a phone, and nothing for mileage either. Well, we've incurred charges in both of those areas with the new HR manager that has come in. Not a lot of money, but we definitely need to establish a phone budget of roughly about $100 a month. That's starting in the month of March. Plus there's a $450 phone charge, so that needs to be budgeted. And then mileage, there's been roughly about $120 reimbursed so far. So I figured let's just put $1,000 out there. That should be sufficient to cover the balance of the year. Number 2, the senior center. They actually received $50,000. You probably know about this. It was from the Friends of Independence Township Senior Adult Activities Center, and it actually represented a grant award from the Barch Memorial Trust, and it was to be used exclusively for the Brady Lodge HVAC system. I did include some memos that we received from those organizations, basically laying out the verbiage on it, and that basically states that that's what those funds are supposed to be used for. So we need to recognize that $50,000 coming in. So that's just really a revenue hit, and then we also have to put the funds into the expenditure line so they can be spent. The third item here has to do with the fire CIP fund. There's actually $781,000 of equipment that was sold, and that happens to be the 2022 Supfin tanker, and then we also sold the 2021 Polaris Ranger XP1000. Again, no budget for these. It's $781,000 that we need to put out into the budget itself, so you can see those revenue dollars coming in addition to the actual dollars coming in. The fourth item here, this is a familiar one. We had one late invoice in 2022 within our CDBG fund, so it left a deficit balance, which typically, normally that fund is a zero balance fund, but when you have timing differences like this, it can cause a deficit. All we do is in the next year, we actually have to increase our revenue to account for that item that did not make it in before our deadline, which was the end of February. So we need to account for that. It was about $7,000. And then the last item here, it's within the water fund. They've actually had a couple of insurance incidents. I know you guys all know about the vehicle that was totaled. Well, within that, there was $719 worth of record charges, and they actually charged all of that to their vehicle repairs and maintenance, so it's kind of putting a little drag on that. But we actually got money in from the insurance company for that, so we need to recognize the money coming in for that, the $719, and then put the $719 back in their vehicle repairs and maintenance account. The other item was the Royal St. George Pump House that got hit. They've also tried to take this out of their building and grounds maintenance account, so it's really putting them in a shortage situation here. So again, we did receive $4,500 from the insurance company, so we need to recognize that coming in as revenue and then also add it back into their building and grounds maintenance account to kind of make them whole again. Yes,
Just a
sir.
question, is that the arch going in that
Yes,
they
it is.
had?
That thing gets hit all the time. Yes, it does.
Who so we own that pump house with that arch, right? Dave's not here to talk to, but this
Correct.
thing is a never-ending, you know, would it be, I think we need to talk to Dave about putting up maybe a pre-barrier to that they would hit before they hit the stucco building, you know, just a
nice.
simple, like a simple metal frame that just goes up and they smack into the metal frame before they hit the building, you know, or something, because that's clearly labeled to not go under it, but, you know,
Yeah, some
Just
people don't read or they're
things
not
been
paying
hit so
attention or
many-
whatever.
it's just been smacked into so many times.
It
There's
has.
gotta be a, you know, like at a drive-through, they got the little tube with the chains dangling to let you know that you're gonna hit something before you destroy the thing, you know, but we'll work with Dave on that. I just wondered if that was exactly the
It was, yeah,
situation.
it is that same structure, yes. So, and that's it for the evening.
Any more questions from board members?
Could I ask on
Sure.
the first one, just out of curiosity, why was the mileage and the phone not needed previously, but it is now? Just out of curiosity.
I'd have to bring in the other manager and find out why they didn't want a phone. I mean, I don't know. It's just, you know, they elected not to budget those items. They didn't feel they were gonna use any mileage. So I really can't answer that. It was just something that they felt they didn't need, and now the new one comes in and they feel they do need it.
Is
So,
it a thing that's typically budgeted?
in most cases, yes, the phone for the most part. Mileage, it could be iffy.
Okay.
You know, it just depends on the manager or the director and, you know, how they go about, you know, dealing with their mileage.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? All right, anyone would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2023 budget amendment number 22 as presented.
Any-
Support.
Support, okay. All right, motion has made and support by trustee Ritchie. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Rick. 3, we have our fire chief, Dave Pichet. Good evening, chief.
Good evening, everybody. So the fire department is, as you see in the MAVE requesting, we were back here almost a year ago today. We got approval to purchase out of the ARPA funds a rescue truck or an ambulance and a command vehicle. And so far, the rescue has been ordered. We're waiting for that to come in, and now we're working on the command vehicle. So with that being said, we would like to purchase a Mercedes Sprinter van, that once we get that van, we'll have it fabricated out on the inside to essentially provide a mobile command for our incident commanders to use on scene. They currently use a 2014 Expedition that needs to be replaced, and we'd like to go this route and move the fire department forward progressively in terms of having our incident commanders actually serve in a mobile command on scene and strategize, provide the right tactical and command presence working out of that vehicle. So the other thing that we've researched many different vans. The Sprinter is the most versatile for what we're trying to do, and we're looking for one that's very specific. And that comes in a 2022, and those are kind of hard to find, but we did find one out on the West Coast in California. We want the 2022 because it comes with a 6-cylinder diesel motor. We want the diesel, and we also want the 6-cylinder. Comes with the rear dualies on the back of the truck and in 4-wheel drive. If you move into the 2023 year, we could order a new one, but we can't get those same items in the 2023 Sprinter van. They don't come with a 6-cylinder, and they don't come 4-wheel drive anymore. They're all-wheel drive. So we've located this one. As of 2 hours ago, it's still available. So within this MAVE, we weren't sure if the van would still be available. So we put a provision in there that if it wasn't, that we could still move on. We could get approval to get a Mercedes van, but continue to look for one and have that ability to do that without coming back to the board. So that's take any questions.
Thank you, chief. Clerk Newbeck?
How many miles does it have on it now?
I think 11 miles. It's brand new.
That's nice.
I should have said that. It's a brand new vehicle at a Mercedes dealership in California.
Okay.
So it's brand new.
And once you have the back kind of built out to what you want with the specs, how many staff can work in it at a time?
2 easily will be working at a desk, and we can have another 2 across from them on a bench seat.
Okay.
So you can have 4 adults in the back of the Sprinter van, building out command depending on how big the scene is. The other kind of beauty of having the Sprinter van built out like that is if you can imagine when we go on scene and we're on a house fire, for instance, and the family's standing outside, they could be standing out in the elements, be it rain, snow, winter, cold, whatever it is. We can bring them in the van and harbor them there until they can find transportations to somewhere else or whatever the case might be, so.
Nice idea. Thank you.
Any other questions from board members? Treasurer Brown?
Just a comment. We were in a situation with this, and I spoke with the chief and Carrie, and the dealer, like, they're saying, we're not holding it for you. But we just knew there was really anything we could do about it, because this falls within an area where the board has to approve it. And, you know, we kind of talked about that, and we all agreed that we just have to take our chances, that even if we end up spending more money for a different one, we have to follow that policy where the board has that authorization, and the 3 of us all agreed on that. So that's why we haven't taken action yet, because even though it would be a good idea to get it, we're just not going to violate the board policy that gives you the right to decide, so.
Good
Thank you, Paul.
question.
Trustee Morocco?
Chief, who's doing the build out?
We haven't selected a company yet. I've got a past experience from my previous job as a fire chief. We used a company out of Indiana. We'll probably look at them as a possible option. There's also Kentucky Trailer here in Walled Lake that does that type of work. So we'll just have to vet that out and see who can do the best for us at a good price, so.
What are you looking to spend on the interior build out, and how are you funding that part of it?
So it'll come out of the ARPA fund. So we have $250,000 that we can use for this command vehicle. Obviously, if we buy the Sprinter, that's $85,000 of it. Leaves us approximately $165,000. So that's going to be our budget, somewhere below the $165 to build out the rest of it.
Do you think it's gonna take 6 figures to build out the interior?
I would say, yeah, by the time we put all the radio systems in, what's really going to cost us is the multiple radio systems that need to go into this vehicle, the technology piece. That's where the costs start to rise, but yeah, we kind of anticipate somewhere around 100 grand plus.
Okay, well, I think it'd be a great addition. Just the fact that you could get out of the weather and talk about what you're about to do with, and have people in there. The expedition certainly doesn't work in that manner. And I know that when you guys respond, if you, like commercial fires, you have the blueprints on your screens and all
Yep.
that. Just seems to make much more sense than huddling in a truck in the back seat, passing around a laptop, trying to figure it out.
And that's kind of what goes on now.
Right,
So if you can imagine, that's a great point you're bringing up. So when we have this command vehicle built out, what you see on that computer screen is going to be projected up on a TV in the Sprinter van. So it'll be big. So if you have multiple officers in there, they can see the information, make determinations, and strategize. So that's all the technology we want to put in here to make it work well for the incident command. So.
And do you expect a lot better fuel efficiency being 4-wheel drive so that we're not in all-wheel all the time?
Yep, and that's
Maintenance?
Yep, and that's why we wanted the diesel engine, because
Yeah.
that's more fuel efficient. So the 4-wheel drive is specifically, we really wanted that for the terrain you do have in a township here. We have a variety, as you're well aware.
Are you running any gasoline engine vehicles for the fire department?
Yeah, our pickup trucks, the small vehicles like that. So.
Okay,
But the rest of our vehicles, the emergency vehicles, they're diesel.
okay.
And just, I guess, one more little point of clarification. I do have experience from where I came from. We put a Sprinter in service in 2007, built it out just like I'm speaking of today. And that, as I stand here today, that same Sprinter is still in service in Bloomfield Township as their command vehicle. And they're just now thinking about that they should replace it because they just feel like they should because it's the age of it, but it's still on the road, still working well for them. So
Very good.
it's got durability.
Clerk Newick?
Just as one follow-up, we should check in and see if we can also get some grant from the township insurance because of it being, I think, part of that command for the electronics and that stuff,
Okay, you can check into that.
possibly.
Yep,
Great.
See if we can get something there too.
yeah,
That'd be helpful.
good idea, actually, so.
Okay. Okay, no, anyone online would like to address to the board? Okay, anyone would like to make a motion?
I'll move to authorize the
I'm
fire
sorry.
chief to,
Real
go
quick.
ahead, Paul.
Normally, right, we're approving the purchase of this. Does this may say we're gonna actually wire them the money immediately? Because normally, the check run would require that too. Did we get that in there to?
I don't believe that's in there,
That's
but I
okay.
do
We
need
just want the
that.
board to be aware that we need to pay for this right away too. They're not gonna
Yeah,
hold
to
it.
secure it.
So I don't wanna have to wait for another board meeting for the check run, because really normally that's two steps. One, they approve the purchase and another one approves the check run. So if we can just tweak it to authorize immediate payment.
All right, I'll move to authorize the fire chief to purchase a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van in an amount not to exceed $95,000 with payment happen electronically immediately as needed.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion has made and second by trustee Alamatu. Simple majority. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you,
Okay,
chief.
thank you very much, everybody.
Hold on, I got motion B here. Move to approve the 23 budget amendment, number 23, as presented as well.
Second.
Motion has made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you very
chief.
much.
Thank you, Ron. Thanks, guys. Okay. Lisa,
I know.
this is a
Right
late
now we know
submittal.
Bloomfield's looking.
Hi, Lisa.
Hello, good evening. I do have a picture I'm pulling up for this
Oh, okay.
one.
All right.
As long as we don't have a truck drive under this, we'll be all set.
Didn't think of that. All right, so as you guys know, at the May 9th meeting, the board did approve the final Baycourt playground project bid from Pinchora Landscape Structures. And included in that motion was the additional amount of $25,000 to cover the entrance sign that you see on the screen tonight. And at that time, we did not have an official proposal. It was a conversation with Pinchora where it was, yeah, about $20,000, don't quote me. But the proposal came in after the meeting, and it came in at $32,668.60. So that brings me here tonight to ask for an additional $7,669 if the board would consider to approve the additional amount to finalize the proposal of approval for the entrance, so that we can get it into production, and it would be hopefully come at the same time as all of the playground equipment, which today we had a pre-construction meeting, and they're shooting for the first week of September 5th, to start install.
Good. Any questions, guys?
This money's coming out of the general fund for this?
Well, that's what I'm asking. The original $25,000 was approved
Right.
for
This
general
was-
fund?
Yeah, the board was gonna do the entranceway sign above and beyond the park, as
Correct.
something for the parks, right?
Correct.
I guess my only concern with this, and I don't know what can be done about it, is that with it only being 8 foot high at the archway,
Mhm.
it's easily reachable to jump up there and hang off of this thing. So, because at the lower ends, it's only gonna be less than 7 feet, which gives them an opportunity to climb this thing,
Sure.
so. That would be my only concern. I don't know if it would change the price in the design or anything like that, how they do it, but, I would just have that be a dialogue with them, so
Sure.
I could see that this would be vulnerable for that type of thing, and it's not part of the playground, or the ground under it's not gonna be made for falling or anything like that.
Absolutely.
So just that it's so low seems like something to consider.
Just electrify it instead.
Pardon?
Just electrify it instead.
Well,
The Vaseline
I mean,
on
it's
it,
really gonna
so-
be like about 6.5 feet tall by the time, at the bottom bracket. That's what I'm more concerned about.
Sure.
It's pretty low.
Yep, no, I mean, it's a valid point, and definitely a conversation I can have with our contacts to see, and we know kids are creative. Kids will find
Thank you.
find ways to.
But Otherwise, I'm in
Thank you.
favor of her adding it to her, to get it done.
Clark Newman?
I think part of it, Lisa, and correct me if I'm wrong, might be the height, because we want to be able to see the height of the peaks of the playground behind it. And if it was
Sure. That, I mean, that probably did go into the
Yeah.
thought process behind the design, because the main feature of the playground is quite large. I don't have the exact height off the top of my head, but we don't want to block that view. We want it to be blended and
That
all be a
will
nice,
affect-
concise
Yeah.
entrance, for sure. Mhm.
And I think I just also wanted to comment that she did not go out for bid for this because it's sort of it's by the same playground company, it's specialized, so it matches with the other equipment, so.
It was included in Pentura's original bid as an additional add-on item. So the intent was not to, yes, not to go out to bid to, if we were interested and could fund it, we would just add it on to the order.
Sure. Any other questions from?
One more point.
Sure.
This is installed.
The price of $32,000 is installed,
Okay.
shipped and installed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to,
And that would include all the concrete, the footings, everything needed for that.
okay, just wanted to make sure.
And it could come in under this. This is a proposal, and if it is produced at the same time and sent on the same truck as, say, some of the other equipment, that could bring down our freight charge. Same thing with the equipment. If it times properly and they have the equipment there already on the original install of the playground, that could affect this price. It will not go above.
Okay.
Any other questions? We okay?
I'll move to approve the 2023 budget amendment number 24 in the amount of $7,669, and direct the supervisor to sign the proposal from Ventura Landscape Structures for the playground entrance sign
I'll
as
support.
presented.
Oh, sorry.
Pardon?
You said as presented, and I thought you were done, I'm sorry. I'll support.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you,
Thank
Lisa.
you.
Good luck.
Good job, thanks. Okay, I guess, now we're going for a closed session. Need to make a motion, right? Or-
We do, and roll call. I'll make a motion to enter into closed session to discuss confidential legal opinions pursuant to the Michigan Open Meetings Act 15.268H and MCL 15.2431GJ regarding the purchase of real property.
Okay,
We need a second?
okay, support, so all those in favor?
No, that's a
Aye.
roll call.
Oh, roll call, okay.
Clerk Newbeck, yes. Treasurer Brown?
Yes?
Trustee Morocco?
Yes.
Trustee Nalamothu?
Yes.
Trustee Ritchie?
Yes.
Trustee Stoyan?
Yes.
And Supervisor Aliaga.
Yes,
Sorry about that.
no problem.
Okay, motion carried.
Okay.
Can we just meet right here?
Back on session.
I'd like to make a motion to return from closed session and to resume the regular meeting at 6:55 PM.
Support.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are back. Okay, communications and future agenda items report. We have the minutes of our advisory committee on March 8, 2023. Board member comments. Any comments? Yes.
Last month, we approved the $25,000 for the grant interest at Baycourt Playground. And we have the means and the opportunity to do it and make it nice, and that's a good thing to do. And then today, we approved another $8,000, and again, we have the opportunity and means to make it nice, so why not? It's a good thing to do. In our parks master plan for Baycourt Park, we have $10,000 budgeted, and I understand budget is rough numbers, so it's not exact, but we have $10,000 budgeted for new sand at the beach. And then at Clintonwood Park, also this year, we have $10,000 budgeted for the new sand at 4 volleyball courts. And at Sashwell Plains Park, we have 1 volleyball court over there and $0 budgeted for new sand. And I want to say that I was at Baycourt Park last summer, and I can't remember one way or another if we needed new sand, but we're getting new sand. I was at Clintonwood recently, and that sand is still in great shape. But we have the means and the opportunity to make it nicer, so why not make it nicer? 7 years. So my brother and I used to do an annual beach wrestling tournament where we would wrestle at the beach. And in preparation for that tournament, we would always wrestle at several different places every year to get ready for that tournament, anywhere we could find patches of sand. Anytime we would practice, if I walked away with, let's say, 2 cuts on my skin, that was a rough patch of sand, because usually sand is very soft and it's not abrasive. We practiced one time roughly 7 years ago at Sashwell Plains Park, and I'm not exaggerating, all of the pebbles and debris and rocks in that sand, I must have had 10 different areas where I broke the skin on my body. That sand is in horrible condition, and that was 7 years ago. And I understand that in the last 7 years, it's only gotten tremendously worse since, because the plan was to let that park fall into disrepair so we could put a building there. And in the last couple of months, Jose, you stopped working to put a building there, so thank you for that. And now that our intention is to repair that park, I asked you if we could replace that sand there, because even on one half of that court, the grass is probably growing in halfway across that court. That sand is in such bad condition. I asked if we could get that sand replaced, because again, it's in the budget. It's not in our budget, but it's in our means and opportunity to make it nice. Why would we not want to make it nice? And I sent you an email asking if we could get that replaced, and you said it's not in the budget, which I see that we're doing things that are not in the budget because we have the opportunity to make things nice. So I would ask that please reconsider making it nice, because it's in horrible condition.
Okay. All right, thank you, and I know you have a lot of passion for the parks, of everybody in the board as well as me. First of all, I saw, when you sent me the email, I saw Jennifer told me she already spoke to you about it.
Yeah.
It seems like she didn't. Okay, so the budget that was approved for this year was approved last year, and that was before I became a township
It was
supervisor.
approved this January.
For this year that you're talking about, that is a problem with Sashaba Plains. Now, I don't have any plans to defund or make it worse, Sashaba Plains. You're talking about 7 years ago. 7 years ago was different administration, different supervisor. I got on November, and since I got here, even though we don't have nothing budget for Sashaba Plains, I did everything I could above and beyond to actually fix as much we can. Before Derek left, I talked to Derek. Derek, we need to improve here. Derek went working and moved some money for CIP, Capital Improvement Plan, to fix the grills, trim the trees, and we did some cosmetic in the bathroom. We fixed some of the fountain water in the back. We did a lot of things in Sashaba Plains to improve it, because it wasn't nothing there. You're right. But that doesn't come from my administration. Soon as I come in November, I even invite Treasurer Brown. We
Please
went
don't
there
lie.
and checked it out.
Please don't lie.
And then
Please don't lie.
I went with Treasurer Brown, and we went to the park, and we looked into the parks, and we saw they need some improvement. So I did everything I can, and actually I was meeting with some people to see if I can involve some other people that help out. I couldn't get nobody that want to actually, at this point, to help. So I see auctions right now, and we're gonna present a new budget package on September. In the new package I'm gonna present, my administration, I'm gonna include more for Sashaba Plains, but at this point, we are going with the current budget that got approved last year. So my budget then is coming for September. Then I'm gonna present a package, then address more details of Sashaba Plains. Derek Smith, when he come, one of the few times that he come, he told us, in order to get Sashaba Plains in good standards, we need $1 million, is what he told us. And I remember and I says, we don't have $1 million right now. So I tried this year I tried everything I could to improve Sashaba Plains, and I think we done a lot so far with moving money around that wasn't even approved for this budget. But I'm gonna work and improve what you just mentioned for sure. I mean, my goal is keep Sashaba Plains good standards and good for our residents for sure. I will communicate with you, I mean, as soon as I get something for you, but we're gonna present a good package for the new budget for Sashaba Plains. I mean, and I probably, most likely you're right too. I have to say that when I talked to before with Derek told me that they saw that Clinton Wood and Baker have a lot of more traffic, a lot of more people in Yellowball than Sashaba Plains. That's why they didn't allocate much for Sashaba Plains. When I went to Sashaba Plains, I see one of the problems too. We need to better marketing. We need to have a bigger sign. It looks like from far away, then it's a park there, and that's why I asked to have we're gonna have a new big sign over there after we get the logo, and we're gonna put a nice sign in all the parks. It's coming, so I'm working on it actually. But thank you.
Hold on,
Trustee Morocco?
I need to respond to
Trustee
that.
Morocco,
Well, let
please.
me-
Please.
Please,
please.
Trustee Morocco.
Before you
I just-
get
I-
heated, let me
No, just
say
because
something.
directly about what he just said, please.
Okay, go ahead.
It was as late as February of 2023 that you were trying to bring in an investor to put a building at Sashaba Plains Park. Since then, you got a lot of pushback and a lot of negative feedback, and now you're changing script.
No.
So I just want to say that that's clear.
No.
So you're lying when you say that you're changing it as soon as you got it. And I talked to you privately about please stop lying, and you threatened to sue me for defamation. To which I say, no way, Jose, because defamation would have to apply if I'm lying about what I'm saying about
Point
you.
of order.
All right, please. Okay, I ask for order. Okay, Sam.
Okay, so I heard that we were going to be fixing the volleyball net this year after they're putting up new poles and fixing the net, sagging net. So just I'm not passionate about anything about any of the parks any more than any other one, but I think that what Matt is asking for is it's a few grand to fix up the volleyball court, that's it. It's a couple $1,000s worth of sand and some kids with some rakes and some weed killer, so, I think you can, those little, Derek, I don't think we can look at the park as we're gonna remodel this whole park, because we don't have $1 million today. But, and we made some, with the grills and stuff, I just think, I gotta say that I think we have the ability to, right now, the way that the volleyball court is it's going to be unusable for the whole season, and if we can provide a volleyball court for a couple $2,000, whether we thin the sand out at Clintonwood take the 4 quarts of sand and get 3 quarts worth and take the other quart over, to the Sashaba Plains. I just think it's a big win with a little tiny investment, and it's still gonna show progress. So if you were saying let's put new bathrooms in, I'd be like, that's probably unobtainable. But knowing that it's a dump truck load of sand, a bobcat for a couple hours, and a rake and some weed killer, it seems like because it doesn't there's not a lot of material, there's not a lot of cost involved, it seems doable that we could put that court back in service for the season, before the fall. I do think it's a reasonable request, is what I'm saying.
Sure. No, absolutely. Like, actually, I met with Lisa Christensen early today, and we talk about she's gonna look in some numbers for the sand. That's what I'm saying, but I have to put in the next budget. But I will do everything I can to fix the ball. Actually, we put the net, I paint there, I will have.
No, I'm not. We've done a lot of stuff over there. I'm not saying we're not, but I'm asking is can the director of parks or the interim, whoever, can they, just because they budgeted for Clintonwood, the budget doesn't change, and aren't the parks all monolithic with each other? So can't we we got let's just say we got sand budgeted for 2023.
Okay.
Can we modify where the sand is placed without it being,
Yes.
a budget amendment or anything? It's just,
We-
go ahead, go
Sam,
ahead, Paul.
just to finish, we already moved some money around to actually get the new grills and some of the
Right,
improvements.
right.
We already did that. But I already got Lisa working in a quote to see how much would cost of the sand and all that. We already working. Yes, Paul?
Man, I loved playing volleyball when I was a kid. I used to play at Deer Lake back in the mid-seventies. It's a blast, and I'll donate the sand. So I'll just figure out where it is. I would love to donate sand and have that thing fixed, and we can just stop worrying about it.
All right, sounds good.
I've got someone with a tractor. We can dig the old stuff out,
Okay,
and let me figure that part out, and we'll just get it done.
that's good.
I'd like a donation receipt though.
All right, sure, you get an additional receipt, no problem. All right.
Tax it.
I think
Yeah.
that's, that's a
Yeah.
quick, that's something that
That's
we
a
can
big-
make
yeah.
Do that.
for cheap.
Yeah,
And naming rights.
okay. Motion to adjourn?
Ground volleyball court.
Move to adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Happy birthday again, Carrie. Thank you.